Hey everyone, welcome back to Pepper's DnD Corner. Now, I remember on the last video that I said I was going to do classes next, and I still am going to do classes, but in preparation for that, I realized there's a bunch of little things that I never told you guys that are going to need to make sense for you to understand classes. So we're going to consider this a crash course in a couple small things.
A prep course?
Yes, a prep course.
A Pepper's Prepper?
Yes, that's the joke we've been leading up to, Pepper's Prepper. Character progression in this game is measured by levels. You can do certain things to level up based on either experience or milestones that the Dungeon Master sets in front of you. And when you gain a level, certain things happen. The proficiency bonus. And what that is how good you are at what you're good at, essentially. So every couple levels or so, your proficiency bonus will change, and that basically dictates what tier of adventuring you're in. So at levels 1 through 5, you're in proficiency bonus +2. So that's your first tier of adventuring. So for anything you're proficient in, you would add 2 to whatever you rolled on the dice, plus other modifiers. And then when you hit 5 through 9, that becomes +3, and then so on and so forth, up to a +6 at 20th level. Now hit dice are how your total health is determined, or hit points. How it works is for each class, they have a specific hit die assigned to them, a specific numerical die, either 6, 8, 10, or 12. And so the first level, your health, is the highest number of that, so let's say 12, plus your constitution modifier. And that's your first level total max hit points. And then when you level up, you have to roll that dice, because then chance gets involved. So let's roll the 12. I rolled a 1, that seems appropriate. So you would get 1 plus your constitution modifier added onto your total health, and that would become your level 2 health total. The next thing we need to talk about are skills. Now each skill is a specific aspect of one of the ability scores. Each skill has its requisite ability score that it falls underneath of, kind of like an umbrella. So the first ability score we're going to use is strength. And there's only one skill below strength, and it's called athletics. And athletics is specifically your ability to do things like leap, to swim, to climb, to like push something heavy or pull something heavy. Those would all be things that would fall underneath athletics. So the next ability score would be dexterity. Now the 3 skills for dexterity are stealth, acrobatics, and sleight of hand. Now stealth is your ability to sneak and hide and be avoided from people's sight or hearing. The middle one being acrobatics, that's your ability to do gymnastic stuff. To flip, to like walk on a tightrope would be acrobatics. To flip off the air and like do some sick monk stuff, that'd be acrobatics. And then there's sleight of hand, which is your ability to steal things, to do something without people noticing. So like, how did it get over there? Whoa.
Boo!
Okay. So the next ability score we're going to use is intelligence. Now we skipped constitution because constitution only really matters for your health and things like poison and disease. That's it. So intelligence. Intelligence again is your ability to know things. So each specific skill is your knowledge in a specific subject. So the first one being arcana, which is magic. The next one is history, so it's your knowledge of historical events. How well do you know the War of 1812?
What?
Yep. The next thing would be investigation, and that is essentially finding the needle in the haystack. Being able to look through something and find the specific details, CSI, NCIS, FBI, CIA, other acronyms. Trees. The next skill is nature. You know what kind of tree that is? Do you know how the trees work? How photosynthesis happens. Trees.
Trees!
Flowers. How do they happen? Who knows? The next one is religion. Gods. How do they work? What do they do? How did they do those things that they did all that time ago? It's like history, but specifically about gods and saints and angels and demons and Tom Hanks in the movie Angels and Demons. Think of history, but specifically about gods and angels and demons and all the things involved in religion and churches and such. Yeah.
No Tom Hanks.
So the next ability score on our list would be wisdom. Now there are a bunch of different skills for wisdom, and remember, wisdom is basically your practical application of intelligence. So the first example would be perception. As opposed to investigation being your ability to see really fine details, perception is your ability to just take in your surroundings. Eyesight generally would be under perception, being able to just like see my cameraman sitting over there with a dumb expression on his face. That's perception.
At least I'm not wearing glasses.
Insight is your ability to read someone and see if they're lying or not, like the way that joke just made me feel.
Oh, no, Pepper, I'm sorry, that was a bad joke.
The next skill is animal handling. It's your ability to handle animals. How well does a dog like you? When you walk up to a dog and the dog like instantly like sniffs and like jumps in your arms and is very cute, or is it you walk up to a cat and then immediately just scratches at your face because you apparently said something wrong?
Or cats just don't like you.
Okay, cats don't like me. Moving on. Medicine is your ability to treat a wound that a cat just scratched into your face. Ow.
Meow.
Do you use hydrogen peroxide? Do you use neosporin? Does any of that exist in D&D? Probably not. It's your basic understanding of anatomy, physiology. Those are big words, and this isn't intelligence, so that doesn't really help. Moving on, the next skill is survival. Going back to the practical application of intelligence side of things, survival is your ability to be in nature and be able to survive. Can you look for traps? You make a fire? Can you find some blueberries? Do you know if they're blueberries or do they seem poisonous? Who knows?
I think they look like blueberries.
They're always blueberries, Devin. They're always blueberries.
I like blueberries.
I like blueberries too, but sometimes they're poisonous, kids. And sometimes you eat a poisonous blueberry on your birthday, and it's unpleasant. In the game, in Dungeons & Dragons, yeah, you can set your character's birthday and have them eat poisonous blueberries. So next, and finally, we move on to charisma. First skill under charisma would be intimidation. Grr.
It's a little weak.
I'm very intimidating. I want you to give me all of your gold right now or I'm going to beat you up. Are you scared yet? Intimidation. The next one being performance. It's singing, it's dancing, it's performing in front of a camera. Like I'm doing right now to all of you. I'm not gonna sing. He did it for me.
I like to sing.
Do you like to dance?
No.
So the next skill is deception. Devin, you are the best cameraman I've ever had.
Wait, really?
The next skill is persuasion. Devin, you're my cameraman.
I know that. I already decided to be your cameraman.
Yes, and I'm persuading you that you're my cameraman now. Congratulations.
Wouldn't persuasion fall under deception? I mean, because...
No, think of it like this. Persuasion is telling someone the truth and your ability to convince them that you're telling the truth. Deception is your ability to lie to people. Like when I said you are my best cameraman.
Wait a minute.
Wah, wah. So the next thing you guys need to know about are saving throws. Now saving throws are based off each ability score, so you have one for each ability score. And it's your ability to resist something using that ability score. So the easiest example would be dexterity. So let's say someone throws a fireball at you. Your ability to dodge out of the way of that would be a dexterity-based saving throw. If you were trying to resist being squished by something, that would be a strength saving throw. Most of the mental ones have to do with mental effects being done to you, like spells and things of that nature. How each one would work would be you would roll a d20. I rolled a 1 again. And you would then add your ability score modifier that would constitute for that. So let's say it's a dexterity-based saving throw, you would add your dexterity modifier. And then you could possibly be proficient in that saving throw. And that's based off your class, which is something we'll talk about later. So you would then possibly add your proficiency bonus, and that's your saving throw. So I rolled a 1, let's say my dexterity modifier is +2, so then I rolled a 3, and I probably still got hit by that fireball, painfully. So how do each of these work? Let's say your dungeon master asked you to roll a deception check because you're trying to lie to a local noble. So you would take your d20, I rolled a 10. And then if it was a deception check, I would add my charisma modifier to that roll. So it'd be 10, let's say I have an ability score modifier of 2 for charisma. That'd be a 12. And then if I have proficiency in that skill, as in I'm really good at that skill, like let's say I'm really good at lying, I would then add my proficiency bonus, whatever it is, let's say it's +3 because I'm level 7. I would add that +3, so that would become a total of 15 for that deception check. So the next thing we're going to talk about is armor. Now each class gives you proficiency with different kinds of armor, and there are 3 different kinds of armor. You've got your light armor, which is your leather and things like that are more lightweight, more dexterous, more nimble. Light armor. The next thing up would be medium armor. That's things like half plate, so having like just a piece of armor like on your chest, and like your arms and your legs, and that's it. Medium armor. The next thing would be heavy armor, so that's plate armor. That's like your entire body is covered in armor, and it's a lot harder to move in, it's a lot more nimble, but you get a lot of protection because you're wearing literal metal all over your body. Oh, and then there's shields. Shields are things you carry around in one hand, like that, and if you have proficiency in them, they make you harder to hit if you're wielding one.
It's so colorful.
I know! We painted it, guys. We did it ourselves.
It looks like a bunch of 5-year-olds did it.
Yeah, because we did it ourselves in the house. So the next thing we need to talk about are weapons. The things with which you hurt people that aren't your fists. There's simple weapons, and there's martial weapons. Martial weapons are things that you would need a little bit more training to use. So, things like a sword. I know. Or a machete.
Where'd you get that from?
I don't know. I just found it. Those are weapons that would need more training to use. They're things that would be used by people like soldiers, not just your everyday farmhand. Your everyday farmhand is not going to be proficient in a machete. He's just not. So how that works is if you are proficient with a weapon, you get to add your proficiency bonus when you attack with it. So if you're attacking with melee, traditionally you're going to use strength as your score. If you're attacking from afar, let's say you have a bow and arrow, you would be using your dexterity. Now there are caveats to all of this, of course, because it's anything, but this is the general rule set to go with. And in terms of simple weapons, you've got things like a baseball bat. Pretty simple, pretty basic. Even I could do damage to Devin with this.
What?
What? The next thing on that list would probably be something like a baton. A little bit more short, but you know, still the same basic principle of hit person with blunt end, it does ow. Simple weapon. Or even something like a dagger. Pretty simple, this one. You just stab. We're not gonna actually stab you yet. Weapons! So there are a bunch of different kinds of weapons out there. You've got everything from long swords to short swords to bow and arrow to short bow and arrow to flail to mace to hammer, hand axe to great axe. Things that would need 2 hands, like a great axe or a great sword. Things that only need 1 hand, things that you can throw, like a dagger. There's so many different kinds of weapons. No matter how you want to hurt someone, you're gonna be able to do it. Tools are exactly as they sound. They're tools. So things like smith's tools would be like a hammer and anvil or like a forge. Things like brewer's supplies would be things you would use to brew alcohol. Things like cartographer's tools would be things to like use a map and use it correctly. Navigator's tools, thieves' tools to pick locks and disarm traps. There's so many different kinds of tools. Also, musical instruments fall under that. Now, I don't have a musical instrument on me, but imagine that the baseball bat here is a guitar. So, that's the end of the prepper video. If you actually manage to get through all this, you will have every basis of fact you need for classes. So when I start going through them, I'm going to be referencing all of this, so please have paid attention a little bit if you want to know how classes work. So thank you guys so much for watching Pepper's D&D Corner, and again, a final caveat, as with anything, there is so much information out there that I want you guys to go and find. There's things that people have added, there's weapons that people have invented that are out there, anything you could possibly think of has probably been made. And you could find it and use it in your campaign. Wah, wah.
Hey y'all, I'm Devin. I'm the editor and camera guy and personal target of Pepper for Pepper's D&D Corner. Aside from sustaining severe mental and emotional and physical damage, please do not use any weapon that you find as a prop as a real weapon. We do not want to advertise any kind of violence on anyone, so please be careful if you are going to use any kind of props in your D&D playthrough. Just be smart.